The next clip is not a very heavy subject. It's about Bloody Sunday. In 1972, there was a Civil Rights Association march, and British paratroopers just opened fire. There weren't any violent protesters or people throwing stuff, but there weren't any guns or involved, whatever.
And it was proved legally a few years ago, and the British government apologised a few years ago.
What's came in, Father?
They came in and they just came in firing. The people, there was no provocation whatsoever.
Firing what, rubber bullets?
No, it was lead bullets they fired. They seemed to fire in all directions. There's some rubber bullets too. They didn't even seem to fire gas. It was completely outrageous, disgraceful. I don't know. They call themselves an army. It's utterly disgraceful.
Are you quite sure that nothing was fired at them first?
There was nothing fired at them, sir. I'm absolutely certain of that. I can speak of this without any difficulty whatsoever because I was there. I was just standing at the flats when the Saracens moved in, first of all, and there was nothing fired at them. Positively nothing fired at them whatsoever. There weren't even stones fired at them. People ran in all directions and they opened fire. Most people had their backs to them when they opened fire at the time.
A short while ago, we filmed you leading the way with a white handkerchief.
Yes.
For a party who were carrying a boy who was dead or dying. Now, how was he shot?
That little boy was shot when he was running away. He was just a little bit behind me when he fell. I heard the shot. I looked around. I saw him dying.
You saw him?
Yes. And he was shot.
He was a young man, wasn't he?
He was a young boy. I would say about 15, thereabouts.
He didn't have a weapon.
No, he had nothing. He was just a young boy of about 15. He was running. I was running too.
Are you saying that the Paras only opened fire because they were fired on first? Because the people in the bog side are saying that no shots were fired at the troops as they came in?
Most certainly. There's absolutely no doubt at all that the parachute battalion did not open up until they'd been fired at. You will remember that the aim of the operation, in fact, was an arrest operation.
Why?
Against the hooligans who'd been attacking us, as you saw, for probably a couple of hours.
I was a child when this was happening. I didn't understand. I just knew there was always trouble in the north. And then after 72, it became widespread. It was the biggest propaganda for the IRA ever. So many joined, thousands joined the IRA after this.
Yeah, because it had the opposite effect. They killed 14 people. They were.
It was just ridiculous. It was then suddenly the IRA became this force, and then came this horrific bombing campaign on Great Britain, and even the South, even Dublin. And you know, when you're 12, you don't really understand. All you know is that they are not happy in the north of Ireland, and you hear these angry voices, and you see death and murder on the TV. And then I remember where it actually struck me hard. There was a bombing in 1974. Dublin was bombed. Dublin and Monaghan. which is a little town just ahead of underneath Belfast in the Republic, and it was actually the biggest bombing, biggest massacre of people in the British Isles, bigger than Omagh. I think there was 34 people killed at tea time, and it was 1974, and I remember at home hearing the bombs go off, and there was no telephones then, we didn't have mobiles or anything, and you had this fear of like, will Dad come home from work? Because they blew up bus stops and train stations and this, and you were just waiting to see who came home from work, who was killed. So you had this horrendous thing there, that there is a war going on, or there's trouble going on. And then it got even more complex in that, like, when I started going over to England, especially in the late 70s and the early 80s in the Virgin Prunes, because anyone that was Irish and anyway different was seen as a possible terrorist. And my name, my real name is not Gavin Friday, it's Fionnán O'Hanava, which is Oscailga, which is Irish. And you have, when you get off the boat, you didn't have planes then, you got the boat over to Liverpool or to Holyhead, and you'd give your passport in, and they'd go, what does that mean? What name is this? And I go, it's Fionnán O'Hanava, and go, bang, into the questioning room. So suddenly, as an 18, 19-year-old boy or young man, Virgin Prune, questioned. Why are you doing this? Where's that? Where did you buy this? So suddenly, you know, when you're checking into an airport now and you see anybody that looks anyway Muslim, and whoosh, they're in there, I can sympathise with what these people are going through. So you had this.
Did you ever consider joining the IRA? Were you ever that politically engaged?
No, because you know what was so strange with my background was I came from this strident Catholic background, and my father wouldn't have been pro-IRA, but he was Republican, as in into a united Ireland, and would have the Declaration of Independence in the hallway. So there's a lot of politics there, and we all have Gaelic names, Irish names, Fionnán, Rabord, Padraig, Cruthur, and it was there. But when I was around 13, 14, I found new friends who were Protestants. And the strangest thing was the Catholic Church was telling me, and school, and the idiom of the Catholic, and the philosophies of the Catholic Church was telling me, no, you can't have earrings, you can't dye your hair, you can't like David Bowie, you have to do this, you have to go to Mass. And then I met these guys down the other end of the road that were like still my friends now, and I formed a band with one of them, and another one formed a very famous band called U2, and they said, no, hang out with us. Yeah, you can have a band. Yeah, you can actually have earrings. Yeah, you can say and do what you want. You don't have to do this. So the repressor was the Catholic Church, and then I see this war between Catholics and Protestants, but then my young friends who were Protestants were saying, you can do whatever, you can do anything, you don't have to. So I had this friendship with all my friends were Church of Ireland. Now that helped the distance with my father very, very much so. Suddenly, not only am I wearing strange clothes, but I'm hanging out with Protestants.
The next clip is about somebody who thought she should make a political statement, in a sense. Sinead O'Connor. Let's have a look first.